Hey guys, one of my favorite common roadside weeds to see as far as wildflowers is St. John's wort. St. John's wort is actually a top 10 selling herbal remedy in the United States. Has these little small kind of twisted leaves that you can see throughout here. I'm taking this video more toward the end of its life cycle. As you can see here, most of the flowers have now gone to produce their fruits. But what we use this herb for is in helping aid depression. So when you explore mental illnesses in the United States, the most two common are indeed anxiety and depression, oftentimes found together. And what we see with St. John's wort is the hypericin and hyperforin contained within the plant has shown pretty useful in many different trials in helping aid people in their ability to manage their depression. Okay? The way it acts in the body seems to be somewhat similar with what we see with prescription antidepressants. It seems to act somewhat like a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor. And what we know by doing that is then we can help with the ability for serotonin to remain in the synapses longer. Now, that being said, for somebody that's maybe suffering from mild depression and doesn't take any other medications, so long as they've consulted with their healthcare provider, that might be a safe go for them. However, there's a lot of concerns with St. John's wort. This plant here, you wouldn't think about it this way, but this plant here is capable of basically undoing the effects of virtually a large majority of prescription medications that many of us might take, whether you're on immunosuppressant, an antibiotic, oral contraceptives, you name it. This plant will render that ineffective. That's not the only concern though. Another concern is, let's say somebody wants to try taking small amounts of this while they're also taking a prescription antidepressant. That's not safe to do. We can have serotonin upload or overload syndrome by having too much serotonin available, and that's also a medical emergency. So there's a lot of things that we have to think about when we think about herbal remedies that we don't usually, we think, oh, they're safe, they're natural, this is just a plant, but we forget that we have that ability to have important drug interactions that must be considered. Another additional one of my chief concerns about this plant, despite the fact that it's helped a lot of people, and that is the fact that when we are suffering from depression and hear about things like St. John's wort, we consider taking it without consultation of our healthcare providers, it might mean that we're missing out on better treatments, meaning more effective treatments that might incorporate both psychotherapy and using various medications, prescription medications that help combat depression. Because if you're suffering from severe depression especially, this plant is ineffective and it will not help. And that means then we risk somebody having a medical emergency stemming from, let's say, a suicide attempt, when we really can help in more means and more capacity by getting the proper mental health care that somebody needs. So again, for somebody with mild depression, based on the clinical data we have, again, with careful, thoughtful planning with their healthcare provider, this might be a viable utility for a plant. However, like I mentioned, if you are on other medications or are suffering from severe depression, this is not a plant that somebody should use. And it's safe to say even moderate depression, you should probably consider stronger therapies than St. John's wort. Nonetheless, a marvel for millennia as a medicinal plant.